Second meeting for the skate park for Rumble Park. And the first meeting we had a couple weeks, months ago now. We had some good input on what the skaters of the neighborhood wanted to see, and gave good input to Matt for the design of the park. And then so Matt has spent past a couple weeks coming up with the refined design for the skate park. And I guess I'll just turn it over to you.
Yeah, I was really happy with the feedback that I got from everyone last time, and we had our surveys that we had them fill out, and what the original design we had was real flowy, kind of curvy, and what I got from the kids is a lot of like the street style stuff, the things that are more ledges and steps, and with a mix of the other things. So with the design that I came up with, I straightened out some of it, so it has a lot more. Some of the objects that require a lot of concentration want a real straight run up, and it's a lot more of repetition and practicing on this thing. It's not more about like zooming around so much as it is like just trying to do this thing, be it a trick on the ledge or a grind or something. So some of the paths, this is the drawing that I took here. I kind of shaped this off the other one, and this is Subsidy Road would be down here, and the baseball fields would be over here. And this one here kind of has an entrance going out to where the parking lot would be here. I like the idea of just starting with the entryway here. It kind of just comes in sort of calm. You don't come in and fall into a big bowl or anything like that. I like the idea of some sort of a pavilion or some sort of shade space that when you come in, or if the parents are there, you could put your bag there, or have your drinks there, or, maybe mom wants to sit there and read a book while they're gone. And so it kind of like bleeds in. I like the path sort of orientation here, where it's choose your own adventure. You might go around, and some younger kids on scooters or something might play a game of chase and chase each other around. Where with this kind of path orientation, it's not set up like a court. It might spark a little bit more creativity for the lines that they want to use. This is very mellow coming around here. So if you were a first timer, or you just want to kind of get your legs warmed up, you could make a path around essentially the whole thing without coming up to any weird surprises. In the past, I would go to some skate parks and just might get there and be a little bit excited and get out to find it like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that there's going to be this big drop off here. So I tried to make it pretty calm around the outside of it. Also, it's all pretty mellow. There's nothing too vicious that beginners or would get into it and try jumping off a 12-stair handrail or something like that. So I had that path orientation very kind of calm around the outside. Some of these boxes I made symmetrical. So on this side, if you were, we'll just say left-handed, and you wanted to do a trick, but it's not set up right, we did the same thing over here, so it has this symmetry coming away from it, which the guys that were here with me last time, we went through the whole, all the surveys and kind of got what everybody was into. We're like, okay, we started drawing it up. That was something we liked, was just some basic symmetry there. This corner piece here is a transitional feature that could serve to come back this way very easily, or you could just make the turn and continue around. I like the path kind of racing around kind of thing that also has. And I see more and more of this in other skate parks, where we're taking a big area, but not everything is concrete. It gives somewhere for the water to drain. It's not too bad to maintain. You still get a mower in here, nothing's crazy steep. So that's the outside. This item here is kind of, I see this in some competitions where it'll have like, I don't like standardized skate parks. We're not building a basketball court or something where they see defined lines, but this is something that's very common, and if a kid wanted to maybe see himself in a competition circuit and he wants to kind of skate the sort of things that they have, this is a standard, It's only about this high, but it has a rail in the middle, a box on the side, and two boxes over here that are separated. And this line comes up to this kind of an A-frame hip embankment that can also serve to turn to go this way. It has different levels of On the lower side here, you could just roll over it. If you wanted to get a little bit of speed and try and get an air on the higher point here, there's a higher apex there to, you know, I like designing something that could have multiple levels of skill in one piece, you know what I mean? So we're not like, the good guys are over there and the bad guys are there. It's something that you could easily take your skills from the lower end and come up to the higher side. A little confidence builder just by changing the pitch of it. This area here is what we call a hip. So you could change your direction here. I could come around here and decide that I'm going to go into this little plaza area in here. I could bypass it, come up to here, and then come back down again. I really like this section here. It's kind of choose your own adventure. You might go up and be like, choose which path you're going to go. Again, I like things that kind of spark creativity and might get you thinking about a different way to do something. This item here is also what's called a spine, where this is a platform here, and then the edges come out and form a spine like this, which is kind of a stable transitional piece that someone trying to do a trick over that. You could go up and come right back down again, or this area, you could go over the spine, or if you're biking or jumping, you could test your ability by going further and further here. Again, another piece that, you know, you can stretch your abilities on it by saying, I'm going to try and jump a little bit further, you know. This up here is it's just a bank like this with a ledge on the top of it. Again, a very popular thing that I see in a lot of skate parks. Nothing too trendy in here. I don't like when something pops up and it's like, this is the new thing. You know what I mean? And then you're stuck with it at your skate park for the next 25 years. You know what I mean? It's all comes from the the old style skating, the new, and where we've been and where we're going. So this comes around then to a rail that goes down. You might be able to see it better here, but I like when a rail, the street aspect of skating is very popular when it jumps down the stairs and get on rails, and everybody wants to do it because it's what they're doing in the magazines and stuff, but it's like, you want to have a safe place to do it, and you're allowed to do it. Also, I like that it has a bank on either side of it, a way to get back up it. It keeps the flow of the park going. If this was a rail with 8 stairs there, and I'm coming this way, I'm like, well, now I have to get off my board and walk up these steps. So this sort of thing here, we can have the elevation change with the rail, but still be able to keep the flow of the skating. So if I don't want to go down steps, I don't have to. Also, the rail's stretched out on the top, so that if I'm coming this way, I want to go up the bank, I can go up and get on the rail of the part that comes up. It's a little bit stretched out. It's a little bit lower and a little bit reformed from what a public handrail would be for the purpose of skating. The bowl is, everyone really liked this shape last time. I had a few different shapes and they were kind of leaning towards this one. It's 6 foot deep and it's 4 foot deep. What it did in this version here is like I spun it around to put the deep end into the bank. Again, because the baseball fields are up here, subtlees down here, and there's a natural kind of slope away from it. So we can stick the bowl into the ground up there, and it's not going to matter if it's deep or shallow. But this, if I want to come in here and maybe use this piece, it's going to be better to have the deeper end up there. But really happy with the bowl. Sometimes they can also get kind of crazy, really weird, and this is set up pretty symmetrical. So if I'm left-handed or right-handed, I have a chance to go in every corner that I want to. Small enough that people could learn in it, but big enough that if a professional team came here, they would have a great time in this bowl. You know, for some of the things when we do a park is, ideally, if I'm a kid and I'm in town and there's a touring team come through, I want them to come to my skate park and show me how to do it, you know? Right. So I think it's important that your park could host some professionals that would want to come in and there's terrain here they would want to ride. Just something that's kind of important. Sometimes parks go too small, and then when a professional team's come through, like, we don't even want to ride this stuff. You know what I mean? So just something to think about of what your park could offer to professionals, you know. And let's see, okay, so loops around, we have these two symmetrical things. They talked about, this is what's called a Euro gap. There's an embankment here, and the challenge is to go off the embankment to a higher plane. So I did 2 of them here, and this is a third one that's a little bit taller, kind of stretched out the gap a little bit, and it's multifaceted. It could be something that they might do a trick here and coming into this area. This little area here is a basin that could serve as a ramp that you could skate back and forth this way. People might kind of pass by it. It might serve as a room to where some kids might just hang out in here sometimes. You know, it's good sometimes in a park to give certain areas where kids might feel confident. I'm not that good, we hang out in this spot. We don't, you know, it's like a kiddie pool or something. But at the same time, it's not constrained to that. If people wanted to, they could pass through it. This is a flat bar over here, which is the same sort of thing here, a rail, 2-inch steel. People love riding on rails. This one is sort of on its own out here. Again, some of this smaller street stuff requires a lot of concentration, and you don't want to just like stick it in a busy area, because someone just wants to have their headphones in and they'll skate that thing all day long. And there's a lot of things in here that are just a staple thing, but the flat bar is the holy grail of what a skate park means. You know, it's what every kid puts in their driveway and wants to ride. You know, so you put one skate park, mount it there. Sometimes they make these so that they're adjustable, and then they disappear from the skate park. So this would obviously be anchored in concrete. Yeah, I really like it. It's got a lot of different terrain. It has the ability for flow. It gives someone their own space. This drawing here, it happens sometimes when I'm working in my creative space. This would be better. This got a little bit big, so this version here, I shrank down some of it, which is probably hard to see to the eye, but some of the lanes I just pinched in to try and lose some square footage. I think this one I was at like 15,000 square feet. I was trying to get closer to 10 because that was just sort of what the number that we were working with. This is closer to 10. Some subtle differences here. This lane got pinched, some of this got pinched, and I like the idea of this entryway here. I kind of wanted to put some of these features up here where it's sort of, again, you come in, I'm not really feeling like skating it, I'm just gonna kind of screw around here for a little bit. I just didn't like the look of this. It looks a little like stuff was just thrown in there. So I liked taking the entryway here and then just having this big symmetrical thing. This could again be like a hangout area. I just think it looks cool. Sometimes I go to skate parks and just it has a nice balance, and it's kind of, even if you're not skating, it's kind of pleasant to look at. So that's why I changed there. We had talked about maybe some additional parking off the parking lot. So I'm not sure what that would be or how many spaces it would be, but it might look something like this. You know, maybe another 10 spaces on the skate park property. I think it would be interesting to get out there when we go to do the plans and really shoot these elevations. I don't think there's anything here that's going to require possibly a wall or somewhere where we need railings or something. I like having the open concept where it just doesn't look like a cage and doesn't look that dangerous when you look at it. You know, like the sheer edges dropping off and stuff.
Yeah, I really pushed this drive for that it could all be open. And
You can't tell from here, and I have blended some of the elevations here, but I was guessing with what we're dealing with. But that may be a matter of, this is the biggest question area, is right here. It may be a matter of spinning this a little bit, so that the bank, if this is the deepest spot, and this is the highest spot, that you could grade out this way, and not have it pinching in here too much. So.
What's the elevation change on some of the runs?
I was going to ask for the same.
Okay.
So if you're going in from the entrance.
Yeah, if this is 0,
Yeah.
this might be -2.
Okay.
And then if that's -2, this might be +1. So this would be a 2-foot drop, and this would be a 3-foot
So you could
coming back up again.
Okay.
and then that elevation would hold here. So if I'm pulling,
I'm just looking.
okay, if I'm pulling that 0, this -2, this is all +1.
Okay.
+1, then it drops down so that these elevations are similar and comes back up again.
So your height difference is no more than 3 feet from low.
Yeah, I think 3 feet.
Over the course of the entire.
Correct, yeah, and then once you're in this basin, this would probably be 4 foot deep and maybe 6 foot deep.
Right,
I mean,
but the outside, the path that most kids would take, if you
Yeah.
don't wanna ride the bull, you're not doing any
exactly,
extreme drop off. Okay. You get this
The
flow
important part
around.
about the loop thing is that you're not giving the beginners this corner to do it. They could be a beginner and get some miles in. You know, the more time you spend on your board or scooter or whatever, the better. So if you could get there and just whip around, first of all, you get more exercise.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You're spending more time on your board, you're getting more confidence.
Right.
And it keeps your interest, you know, if it's, just so segmented, kids get bored and then don't want to do it, so, yeah. And I tried to, I know we had mainly skaters here, but, you know, if, at our park in Denver, we get a heavy bike crowd there. It's Sundays, there's 20 bikers there. And so they kind of like that park. And they have bikers show up, and I try to keep it so that if a biker shows up, they too would enjoy it, you know, if it's. Yeah.
How many do you get up in Denver? How many bikes do you get up there on a Saturday or Sunday?
The most I've seen it through the course of a day, maybe 20,
Okay.
you know.
Well, no, I was just wondering because the skate park that I'm familiar with over in West Goshen
Uh-huh,
is flat.
uh-huh,
It's on asphalt
mm-hmm,
and it has a security fence all the way around it.
yeah,
And they have like 8 security cameras and they're right next door to a Wawa.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Where's
pay,
our security here?
that's a pay,
That's all I'm saying.
but that's a pay park.
No, it's not. I was there. And they have more traffic in the dog walk over there. I was there. I go by that thing every other day to my father's house, because he lives in West Goshen. They have nowhere near the traffic
Yeah.
over there as far as skateboarders.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't
What's
think
the-
there
what's the-
wasn't 200 grand to put that in there, I know that. And it's flat. And people have a great time over there. I'm just wondering why we have to go elaborate here when over there, they're sufficient for West Goshen.
Well,
And it's a bigger township than what we have.
When we designed the skate park, it was conceived as very similar to West Goshen. It was gonna be an asphalt pad.
Right.
Modular skate park.
Yeah, like
ramps
they have.
And things like that.
Yeah.
And actually, it was the charge of, we had a budget set aside for that, and,
I was just curious, that's all.
yeah, no, I'm saying, but I guess what I'm saying, getting at is, the budget was set for a modular skate park system. Matt basically came in and said, I can get you something better for a similar price, and we are shooting for that.
Like a comparable price versus.
Comparable price.
Okay.
And again, we've had issues over the years, like those skate park ramps are kind of dying off. Most of the manufacturers are really big 10, 20 years ago.
Right.
Every playground manufacturer sold a system of ramps like West Goshen.
Right.
Most of them are out of business now. Camp Woodward is the one that's still producing ramps. There's
Yeah.
Park Ramps or something
Right.
else that has them. There's very few ramp companies anymore that do it.
But see, when I went there, I was impressed. They had that one pavilion against the side there. They've got cameras everywhere, and you have a Wawa for security right next door.
Mhm,
And you're like 4 miles from the hospital, in case you get hurt.
mhm.
We have no hospitals out here. So that's all I'm just questioning.
Yep,
I
understood.
mean, every skate park needs to be different. It can't, if it's just a poster of another skate park, then there's no interest in it.
And
But the
We're
dog
lucky
walk
it's-
over there was busier than the skate park. I was impressed. I was like, I've never seen so many people with their dogs over there. They have a nice setup over there in West Goshen.
yeah, I mean, I've been skating my whole life, and I would just prefer something like this, an open, those kind of cagey looking skate parks aren't that inviting.
Well, see, I
They're
was also
small,
worried about
they're expensive.
maintenance and upkeep because Our park isn't really upkept that much as it
Martin,
is
any
now
of that part?
up here.
What about it?
It's not really, it needs maintenance. Before you put this in there, we kind of need other things fixed up. That's all I'm questioning, that's all.
All right. Yeah. As far as the fencing around parks and security and all
Right.
that,
Because they have it there.
I don't think
It's
it's,
not
I don't
really
think it's
ripped up.
necessary. You don't want to have security guards at your skate
Oh, I didn't
park.
say
And then
that, but the
makes you
security
liable.
fence around there and the lights, it does make it kind of safer than tucked away over here away from 322. Supply Road really doesn't really get traveled that much. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah, West Goshen was set up, I mean, part of the reason for the fence and part, it was kind of one of the first skate parks that came about.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
there
but I watched
was
them
a
do
lot
it.
there was a lot of, should you charge to get in? Should there be an on-site person kind of overseeing and all that? And it was originally set up to be an observed place where there was a pay to play, you
Right.
did go, because the township wanted that security.
Well, I
You
think
know,
that's why they put it next to Wawa.
well,
I think Wawa paid for part of that too.
Wow, that worked
Wawa
out.
paid for a lot of that, I think, a lot of that park.
Maybe true, I don't
You
know
know.
about that, yeah, and again, I can't speak to it, but it's still
Right.
pay for, no.
But it's not a pay, I walked in there, there's no payments or anything.
It might, again, I think there was a lot, I remember the discussion, there was a lot of concern about, should it be monitored, should there be an attendant there
But
while
they do
it's
have
open?
cameras, I'll give them that much, they have like
So that they might have,
cameras.
they might have transformed into that, they realized they
Right.
probably didn't need a full-time person,
Right.
and they thought, you know,
Right.
and again, it's a different environment over there, you
Right.
know, and they might have been having trouble.
Well, plus
It's
there's a lot
right
of
next to
people
the
that,
school
you know,
as well.
well, plus they put the new school in the back.
Right.
And they're putting their $1 million houses in over on the side.
So, but,
I feel that this would be a good location for the park. It's in sight, you know, not every town has a hospital, but you're not too far away to get an ambulance. But I don't see that as being a problem for the spot that was chosen.
And then what about
there's
the-
good visibility? So.
Warren, you can answer this maybe. What about the liability of people getting hurt on this?
We talked about that last time, you're more likely to get injured playing soccer or baseball. And they made a law change for insurance that it's a known at-risk sport.
Okay.
So if you go
So
onto
we
it,
will have signage that says it's at your own risk? Because I know some parks do have that.
yes.
Yeah, they do, for a reason. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Again, the township is just not throwing something down to say have at it. I mean,
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
this skate park has been part of this master plan from the beginning. It's nothing new. It has been the most requested item since this project started with Chuck, 2018, 2017.
yeah.
I mean, so a lot of thought has gone into
Right.
what
Oh, no, I
will
didn't
be-
see that by all your, you know, your.
But the reality is, the thing saying there's no hospital, well, okay, there's a guy that's using a saw making sheds. That argument.
Oh, no, I understand that.
Well, you need to understand that inherently there's a risk to getting up and going out of your house.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
And there's an inherent risk for not getting off your couch.
Yeah.
So, you can't,
Oh, you can
can't
die
look at.
going right out the door, right?
That's just my point. You cannot look at worst case scenario. You have to look at that. This is going to provide an option for children and young adults and teenagers and people like Matt and people like me who BMX, and my son, who I'd rather him do this than be on his Xbox. And I'd rather have those kids, instead of deciding to egg signs, maybe buy a scooter and use that park and understand that if you like using this, you're gonna police it yourself.
Yeah.
So the gloom and doom that I keep hearing here is just, I was a police officer for 29 years.
Well,
I
I'll
drove past-
tell you what though.
I've driven
29
past,
years, I understand your point, but now with today's society and the way the cops are.
I have not been
It's
gone
sad.
I have not been gone out of police work more than a year and a half.
Right.
So it's not like I retired in 1970.
I know, I know.
Okay. So and again, like I can also say, I drive past that skate park all the time as well, and I could counter your argument and say, I've seen it where it's skating room only. The reality is, I hear complaints, well, parks are empty. Well, if you want the.
No, I didn't say they're empty.
No, I'm saying some people argue, no, I'm saying you.
Yeah.
People have said parks are empty.
No, they're not. Over here, they're packed.
Some people here say, don't build a park, nobody uses them. And my point to them is, like, if I want to go to Yellowstone, I don't want to go and sit in a 15-mile backup.
Yeah.
I want to go and drive through thousands of acres. The concept of a park, a skate park, this park, or adding more parks, is that it's shown that the more you're outside,
Oh,
the less populated
Yeah.
in that area, you're healthy. So,
Yeah, yeah.
the doom and gloom is what's killing me here. This is something that has been the most requested item. Honeybrook is isolated from a lot of the other parts of the county, like West Goshen, where you could skate downtown Westchester.
Right.
Exton, you can go to the mall. There's nothing out in Honeybrook
Well,
Township. And
So
again,
far, you
we've
can
had,
go to the mall, they're gonna rip that down.
well, it's not ripped down now, and it hasn't been for 40 years.
Yeah.
Point being is, kids in the borough, kids in the township, kid in this area, they like to skate, they like to skateboard, they like scooters. I guarantee you, this will be used as often, if not more than the baseball field, once it gets known. And to Matt's thing is, what's the skateboard store in Westchester?
Fairness?
Fairman's. They used to put on clinics at the West Goshen skate park, and my hope is that if it's here, we can have them come out and do a summer session.
Right.
And that could be our park and rec program, having kids come out and skateboard. Maybe we find a BMX pro that wants to come out. And if you can get 30 kids into a skateboard, Matt can tell you how long Matt has been skating.
Yeah, yeah.
And that does not pass, and Matt's passionate about it because he started it at an age where, again, you can tell Matt feels ownership to any park he goes to. And most skateboarders that are at those parks have a sense of ownership. Their goal is not to come and like,
Oh, no,
skateboarders
no,
aren't coming
no.
like, let's trash it. They're gonna literally say, when kids are trashing stuff at the pavilion in the back,
Yeah.
hey, they're gonna walk over and say, you need to knock it off, because we don't want this closed.
Oh, yeah, no.
Come join us. You
Yeah.
ever skateboard?
Yeah.
Hey, use my board. So I don't see any downside. I'm not concerned about hospitals. I'm not concerned about liability. These are all situations that the township, all municipalities deal with all the time. And I think that's the disconnect, is that your concerns we've already looked into. We're not putting something in there that's literally gonna put Honeybrook Township in a lawsuit and outlet the dollars.
Yeah.
So when we bring this in front and we go through it, we've already looked
Did
at
your
this.
homework.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, listen, I've said it before, Humboldt Park will get upgrades, it will be maintained. But this is something that had started long before me. I think it's something that will be a benefit to the township. It'll benefit the community. It will definitely make a stronger community. It'll probably get kids connecting in person like we used to.
Right.
And maybe that gets them to show up and be in government or turn out like Matt or anybody here that has passion about these projects and making sure that our community looks better. But here's the thing, if we just say no to everything in this township.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
No, I'm not saying you. A lot of people are showing up and saying no to everything.
Well, you have to be open-minded.
And that's my hope, is that I appreciate your concerns.
No, I
And
was
again, I
just-
want to hear
yeah.
your concerns.
Yeah.
The reality is, there's nothing you can do in life that is 100%.
Oh, I
gonna work out
agree
in your favor.
100%.
So we have to look at this and say, is this a net positive for our community or not? If it is, and I believe it is, I think Chuck believes it is, I believe Matt is passionate about it.
Yeah. What I would like to do next
Mhm.
is I'd like to move ahead with trying to make some more renderings of this and start sharing it and start moving in the process of doing the big drawings. You know, I'm sorry, sir, I forget your name, but we were talking earlier about what's the process here. So our next process is that we're all happy with the revisions that we've done, that we could move forward to do a build from document so that it could get on the docket of getting bid upon and constructed. I mean, that's pretty much my purpose being here tonight. I'm sorry, I wish there were more kids here, but I think all the kids are gonna love this park. I took everything that they said and put it into form here. And
Just out of curiosity, what, well, I guess all three is, has there been any, with the Amish community, just because of the scooters and the rollerblades and all that stuff?
I'll see them at the Denver Park, yeah.
Like, I guess, and mainly you, because you go to these things and all that, have you seen their, I would guess there would be, but I'm just curious that, does that kind of draw them in, or is that?
It does at my local park, because we have our skate park, and then right beside it is the hockey rink. And the Amish guys come in and love playing hockey on their rollerblades. And it was really funny, because one day, just suddenly, they were all standing at the fence, looking over the skate park. I was like, come on over. And they were like, no. And then I have seen, you know, not at the, you know, prime time, but I'm in our park all the time, and I'll see them in there. Some Amish girls in dresses rolling around on their rollerblades and stuff. Yeah, they like to
I
have,
mean, I would think that would be something.
they like
positive
recreation
for
as
them,
much
I
as
just didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I don't know.
fun. So, the only thing in my mind in question, if we put it in the plan or not, is the kind of a shaded area, you know? I kind of want to get a feel from what, not even what the skaters think, but
I think we need something, but it would need to, can you make that out of like
steel.
steel with some like,
Yeah.
you know, I think it needs to be,
They have shade sails, which are really kind of cool. It's a nice pop of color, big, big steel metal pipes with triangular, colorful shades you can do, which would provide, kind of dynamic. I think it would look good.
Okay.
Kind of grab some interest. Or, pavilion of sorts.
yeah, I think shade's essential for
Yeah.
the sheer fact that, there isn't much shade available
Mhm.
there unless you go to the very far edge under the
Yeah.
pavilion.
Yeah, they have shade over in West Goshen, I like that.
Yeah. What I'd like to do, Matt, is just, if I could take the CAD file and insert it into the site work, because I'd like to see how it's gonna lay in the land, I'd like to see how
Okay.
far from, the road it's gonna be and
Okay.
all that. I'd like to take a shot at doing something for the shade as well, I can,
Okay, yeah,
Put
that
some
might
thoughts
be
down
more of
for
your
that.
alley.
and then, look at, if you can send me the CAD files, I can then look at, because I would think expanding the parking lot as much as practical, would that make sense, or not necessary?
We have to see what it comes in for budget.
Budget, okay.
Again, we have a matching $225,000 fund. So if this is 200, we get 100 back. Again, it's $50,000 to expand the parking lot, but that allows us to have that egress better, and you can work
Yeah.
some shade into it better,
Well-
or maybe that just sets aside some delineations of where the skaters park and stuff. I'm not opposed to seeing what that would be. I mean, it has to be ADA compliant, so I don't know if it makes sense to upgrade a few parking spots just because it's easier to meet that requirement versus trying to.
Well, I'm more worried about just your existing kind of, it seems like people are parking like right now, they're driving.
So right now,
Tonight wasn't a good time to drive by there.
Well, you have to also understand that parking lot could be empty, and if the baseball team goes, they'll still park over there.
I saw
to
that,
leave
the parking lot was empty.
So they'll leave that open for the people that are gonna use they're trying to be courteous to the people that wanna use the basketball courts,
Okay.
the tennis courts, the pickleball courts. So they try to park over where, again,
Right at the outfield fence, which seems like the worst place to want to park.
correct. So, again, putting this in is going to have, some change in how they park on the grass.
Okay.
And maybe
That's what I was
this
thinking.
comes in first, is 10 parking spots, I mean, because it's probably full. It's probably full right now.
Oh, it's crazy.
Right,
And should there be, with the design part of, not essentially the skate park, but as you're saying, the parking, and then this, will people kind of try to get in as close as you can, so then you start impeding on the kids using that area, like,
I mean-
whether you put shrubbery or, whatever, I'm just saying,
It's a
just getting
really-
something to.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
people are gonna
really
park where
big
they can
space.
park. And if there's a space, they're gonna park there, and if it happens to be real close to the opening of that skate park, or on the edge there.
So we have an acre to work with, but that's 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So there's definitely room to have buffers.
So to speak.
Yeah.
We were thinking, if this were the skate park area, that it could move this way 19 feet and we could get 10 parking spaces just off the existing, that would be
Something, because people are going to be people.
Yeah. Bless you.
And again, this also is going to, there was a master plan with 4 phases, but if we get more parks, and more developments that have more parks, we can try to relieve some of the pressure by removing facilities if they start showing up somewhere else, but it's kind of hard because we don't know what a proposed park is going to look like, and I think if a new development is going to come in and they show us something, and if they show us a full-size tile lot in the baseball court, well then, I know James Humboldt Park master plan actually removed one of the 3 fields and put it down to 2. So maybe we can still do that, but leave that one spot open and have a little bit more parking or multi-use grass field park. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not comfortable saying what Humboldt Park's gonna look like in 5 or 10 years, just because I don't know what other parks might take the strain off of this one. And again, I know Pratt Chuck was a little bit sad when I nixed a bunch of the stuff, but the point is that all those phases are still on the table. It's just, I think, if we see relief otherwise, then Chuck and I, or the board, Chuck and the board can revisit of, okay, maybe we just switch this layout here and we have enough parking. This is used, and again, if we see this getting used, maybe we look at expansion.
No, we can't, because we don't know.
We don't know. So, not opposed to thinking about 10 spots. If you want to throw it in your rendering, I don't know if you.
We just kind of talked about it last time.
Well, I mean, Chuck, if Chuck could give me an estimated cost of what that would be for our bid documents.
And then, again, talking next steps, if you can send me CAD files, I'd like to see it on the site.
Okay.
I'll tie it into parking, I'll show expanded parking if appropriate. And then we can put together a cost, I want a cost from you on what your part is, but we'll put together an overall cost. I'll tie in max numbers to what the skate park is gonna cost. Yeah, and then we'll get you the.
And then we can, and then we'll just run it by the board. And again, if the return on investment is gonna relieve a little bit of parking, but again, 10 spots are nice, it's not gonna relieve
Yeah.
the baseball time, but again, the baseball window is a few hours over several weeks,
Yeah.
but
The thing too about the parking for a skate park is it exchanges a lot. Somebody's gonna show up for an hour, somebody's gonna leave, and
Right.
it's like a revolving door. Rarely somebody's parking there for 10 hours.
correct.
So.
And they come in groups, a lot of times.
Yeah,
They'll-
yeah.
they'll-
So,
Yeah. Again, we're not envisioning this is gonna have 20 or 30 people every single hour. Every single
right,
day.
initially you'll have some of that, but yeah.
But it's gonna probably be handfuls, dozens. over the
Yeah,
course of
and it'll
the day.
change in time.
Seasons.
When I go to our park, there's a new generation of kids there,
Right.
so, yeah.
All right, so that would be the next step, is get the CAD file.
Do you want to hang on to these?
If you don't mind,
Sure, yeah.
what I'd like to do is probably just post them up on the wall, kind of like we currently have with our
Okay,
land
because
says.
yeah, maybe, I know some of those kids were really anxious to see it, last time.
So if you're fine with us
Yeah.
sharing them, we'll leave it out. If you are okay with kids taking
Yeah.
pictures of it.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
your
Yeah.
proprietary, at this
Yeah,
point.
that first meeting, it was a little, I didn't want everyone taking pictures, and I'm glad they asked afterwards, because the kids said, oh, can you send me a picture, I want to post that. I was like, well, let's just wait a little bit, so.
So if you're okay with this rendering, and again, there's not a ton of scale to it, we can leave it out.
Yeah.
That way, when the board meets next month, they can kind of see where we've landed. I doubt the board is gonna have much input of the design portion, because that's your expertise, and
Yeah.
again, that first meeting with the kids' inputs, the skaters, is
Mhm.
the most valuable. Obviously, the township's concerns and fits within our budget, kind of,
Mhm.
what Chuck is aware of with our cost. I don't think, again, we have a set number, but, I think you and I and Chuck have all talked about keeping it, that $250,000 price point, because half of that's a DCNR grant. So, 10 spots make it better, or we have to kind of increase our shade for a few dollars more, but it's gonna
Yeah.
give us a much better return in usage, then it's
Yeah.
definitely,
In some of my earlier renderings, I had put trees around, it just kind of looks cool when I'm trying to put trees in.
You concerned with trees and the leaf litter that would end up in the.
I mean,
or-
some parks just, there's trees there anyhow, and it ends up happening.
Okay.
You know, I mean, the one we did in Reamstown, we literally built the park around this big tree, so it was in the right season, you gotta know to take a blower there. So, I'm not an arborist, but, if someone new, would be like, hey, a good shade tree would be this pear tree we'll put over here, it's not invasive, the roots aren't gonna rip the concrete. Just be something to kind of think about this.
someone on our PC is actually seasoned forestry, so actually.
So someone like that might look at this and say, oh my gosh, you do this because the sun's gonna come here and give a little shade, it's not that dirty. I don't know.
I don't have a position on hardscaping or landscaping. I think, Chuck's
Yeah,
not
I
concerned, just make sure it's a pretty safe level site. Again, it's a skate park, but like.
Right, you don't want any surprises.
I don't have to walk up a flight of steps to get into your skate park. I
Right,
might be able to,
Yep,
leave the
And that's
parking
kind of-
lot and roll into the entrance, which you clearly showed, and that 3 feet difference throughout the whole entirety,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's gonna be not a challenge for the maintenance.
cool.
Pretty good.
Any other questions or concerns?
Thanks, Matt.
Sure, yeah, thanks a lot.
If you're good leaving them, I'll have them.
I'm gonna leave them, I'm gonna check off